computer. Okay, hey everybody. My name is Eddie Laporte. I'm the Executive Director of the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. And this Q&A will focus specifically on the Social Innovation Grant, the Special Projects Grant, the Freedom School Grant, and the Project Atlas Grant, I think. Yeah. Yesterday, we did the Sustainable Development Planning Grant, so I won't be taking any questions on that today. I answered all those questions yesterday. Before we start, let me put my contact information in the chat. So Eddie Laporte, my cell is 732-289-1896. My email is edward.laporte@sos.nj.gov, right? And to get to the OFBI website, simply insert OFBI in your browser search box and will pop up. All right, so that's all in there. Great. All right, so let's start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to give us a little journey through the OFBI website. So, you know, when you get to your browser, just put OFBI here or up here. And when you click enter, will pop up here, right? And you won't pop up here, you'll pop up here at our landing page. To get to our grant opportunities, you click grant opportunities and you scroll down, and then these are all our grant opportunities. So today we're going to talk about Freedom. I'm going to answer questions to Freedom School. I'm going to answer questions to your Project Atlas. I'm going to answer questions to your special projects, and I'm going to answer questions to your social innovation, college readiness, and trade skill readiness. If you scroll further down, this is the schedule of webinars. In this box, next week, you'll see where it says schedule of webinars, you'll see recorded Q&A. And then on the bottom, it'll say Sustainable Development Q&A recorded. And then the next video would be Social Innovation Special Project, Freedom School, Project Atlas Q&A recording. So you can come in here when you have nothing to do and you're just bored out of your mind and you're just tired of watching TV, you can come over there to the OFBI website and enjoy this pre-recorded session. Now, if you scroll further down on the supporting documents, you'll see certain supporting documents that'll be indicated that you need to upload it on your particular website, whichever website you're applying for. So since we're not talking about sustainable development, these three are for sustainable development. Everybody has to submit a board resolution. Project Atlas grantees have to submit a Project Atlas readiness assessment. Freedom schools have to submit a Freedom School readiness assessment. Everybody has to submit a logic model. Tina, can you mute yourself? Everybody has to submit a logic model, and Project Atlas has to submit a capacity building logic model. Now, I can answer whatever questions you have about that. Now, if you scroll further down, you'll see Division of Consumer Affairs. Now, there are 5 documents that you need to have in place before we can contract with any organization. They are, if your total income for 2024 was $9,999.99 and lower, you don't have to register for a charity registration number. However, if your income for the organization, that includes donations, that includes grants, is $10,000 or higher, you need to register or you need to provide us with a compliant charity registration number. So how do you do that, Eddie? Well, you'll click the DCA portal account link here, and it'll take you to the DCA portals page. So if you have an account, then you sign in, and if you forgot, they walk you through how to get your username and password. If you've never had an account, you create an account, right? And then they'll talk you through what that process is like. To determine if you have a charity registration number, you come down to the bottom here where it says Charity Registration and Investigation, and you click Directory of Registered Charities. You click that, and then it'll take you to the DCA Charities portal page. I have a website, a webinar on this that talks you through it. I'm not going to put anybody on blast because I don't want to put an organization's name up here and it does not come compliant. It'll be non-compliant. But if you put your charity's name or your FEI number in the search box and you hit enter, if nothing comes up, that means you don't have a charity registration number. And if your income is $10,000 or higher, for Project Atlas especially, and for everybody else, you need to register to receive your charity's registration number. If it comes up non-compliant, where it says compliant in green here, it'll say non-compliant in red, and I can't see. It seems like everybody here is compliant so far. Then you'll need to go back to the charities portal page and either sign in. And when you sign in, they'll tell you what you need to do in order to become compliant. And so that's the charities piece. Then if you scroll further down, there's the IRS charity search. Now, in one of the, I think in some of them, it says your most current 2024 501c3 determination letter. Scrap that. I don't know why that's in there. It's the person that wrote it, but I don't know why I didn't edit it out. We just need your 501c3 determination letter. And if for some reason you can't find it, for whatever the reason, you click this link that says tax exempt organization search, and it will take you to the IRS page. You click tax exempt organization search tool, and then you click search for tax exempt organizations. And then you'll just leave search all. You'll leave employer identification number. You'll insert your employer identification number. You insert the city where you reside, the organization. You put in the state of New Jersey, and then you click search. And then another box will open up, and it'll show you, oh, here's your copy of your 501c3 determination letter. Just download it because you have to upload it to us anyway. And you'll also see, God forbid, you're in this status, revoke. So if you're in the revoke status, because we're going to check all the 501c3s that are submitted to see if an organization is revoked or not. If you're in the revoke status, then you need to follow up with whatever message that letter says to you that you need to contact IRS to go get from revoked to reactivated. We have nothing to do with that. But we urge that if you're in the revoke, don't wait until you get an award letter, because you only have 90 days from the date of your award letter to go from revoked to active and reactivated. And it takes about 6 months to go from revoked to activated. So don't wait for that, okay? And then further down, you'll see congressional and legislative districts. In the application, you're going to be asked, in Sage anyway, to insert your congressional district and legislative district. Click these links, and it'll take you to the appropriate places where you can download your congressional number and legislative number. So if you scroll further up, oh, I forgot to say, the 2027 grant applications are due February 26th at 4 p.m. Yes, 2027. There's a navigation bar. You click webinars, and then it'll take you to our webinar page. If you've never applied for a grant through the New Jersey Department of State, so there's the state of New Jersey has different SAGE colors. There's red SAGE, yellow SAGE, green SAGE, and they're all independent platforms. They don't communicate with each other. So we're Blue Sage. So if you've never applied to the Department of State's Blue Sage, I don't care about those other colors, then you need to watch this webinar. It's like a 10-minute webinar, step-by-step on how to register onto Sage. So Sage is our online application platform. We don't accept paper applications. And so it'll talk you through. Now, if I were you, and if you never really applied for a grant through the New Jersey Department of State Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, and you need to register to first time applying on Blue State, I would do that like today, because there's only one person in the department that authorizes access. So, you got some time today, because the application is not due to February 26th. If you wait 2 weeks prior to February 26th, even the week prior, I can't guarantee you that my man upstairs is going to be on vacation and there's nobody else who's going to give you access to it. And you may not be able to submit your application. So if I were you, I wouldn't wait until the last minute. I would do this now. Then you may want to watch this webinar here, Step 1 Organization Information. It's a bit dated, but the steps are somewhat universal. There are 5 documents that you need to have in place before we can contract with you. Charter registration number, proof that that number is valid, division of revenue number, and you have to upload the division of the certificate of revenue. You have to upload that. Then you have to upload, let me see, 1, 2. Then you have to upload your IRS 501c3 determination letter. Then you're going to be asked to upload your article, your certificate of incorporation, not your articles of incorporation, your certificate of incorporation. And then you're going to have to upload your certificate of standing. So this webinar here will talk you through how to navigate the New Jersey Department of Treasury and the Division of Consumer Affairs for those documents. And then you have the link for the IRS that will help you figure out how to get your 501c3 determination letter. And then this webinar here, Introduction to Logic Model, since you all have to submit some type of a logic model, which is on our webpage over here. Let me go back here. Oops. Which is down here, logic model, logic model, logic model. That webinar is going to talk you through how to submit the logic model that we want. Then these other webinars here, they're going to be replaced because they're from, I think, last year, but you can watch them because it's the same steps universally. The only thing that changes is the year. So you'd be looking for FY27, and this is saying FY26. And so if you want to know how to create and submit your Freedom School application, you can watch this webinar. If you want to learn how to submit and create your Project Atlas application, you can watch this webinar. If you want to learn how to create and submit your social enterprise, no, we're not funding this this year. If you want to learn how to submit and create and submit your social innovation application, you might want to watch this. Now, the only difference between this webinar that's on our website and this year is that this year we're only funding 2 categories on the social innovation: trade skills readiness and college readiness. And then if you want to learn how to create and submit your special projects application, you can watch this webinar. And the only difference between this webinar and our current application is that the only special projects category that we're funding this year is food security. So you can get a jump on this, as even though we're going to be uploading more current information, you can still use this to start the process. Okay. Oh, let me also say this. So I know some people are going to say, oh, Eddie, can we apply for more than one funding category? And the answer is yes. I'm not going to say you can't. You can if you're under social innovation and you want to and you got the bandwidth to submit 2 separate categories, one for college readiness and one for trade school readiness, go for it. Now, our review process are scored by panels of 3 independent reviewers, and if you're in college readiness and you get funded for college readiness, and if you're in trade school, they don't communicate with each other. They don't say, hey, do you have the Eddie Laporte organization over there in college readiness? Because we want to give them a grant, but we don't want to give them a grant if you're going to give them a grant. That's not how it works. They are almost siloed. No, not almost, they are. And so the panels don't communicate with each other other than the panel members in their specific panels communicate. So you may have the opportunity of applying for both of these and getting both of them. For special projects, if you have the bandwidth and you want to apply for the 2 social innovation categories and food security, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you. And you can apply for that. If you've got the bandwidth and you think that you want to apply for Project Atlas, but if you're you can go for social innovation and you can go for special project, but if you're applying for Project Atlas, which is a capacity building grant, I guarantee you don't have the bandwidth to apply for these three categories. You just don't have it, right? Because this is a capacity building. This is for emerging organizations, for organizations that have limited capacity, limited funding, and have rarely had opportunities to engage with a funder. Project Atlas is for you. And with Project Atlas, you get a $10,000 grant to implement a pilot project to see if, to give you experience in working with a funder, implementing a pilot, gathering evaluation data, and then improving on that project. And then Freedom Schools, if you think you can do Freedom School, and if you think you could do social innovation, both college readiness and trade schools, and if you think you could do food security, and if you think you could do Project Atlas, then I invite you to submit an application for Freedom School if you've got the bandwidth. That's a lot of applications. And so Freedom Schools is focusing on the Freedom School Planning Grant says, hey, we're going to offer you this planning grant of $15,000 to get you ready. You need to, submit some information to the Children's Defense Fund so you become a certified New Jersey Freedom School. And once you're certified as a New Jersey Freedom School, that $15,000 will allow you to, pay for your trip to Tennessee if you're a licensed Freedom School member, and then we'll provide you, if funding is available, funding to implement a pilot project in the summer of 2028. 2028. All right. So you should be good. So we can have questions about that. Now, all of the categories here, all of the applications categories, social innovation and special projects, they're somewhat similar in their application requirements for special projects. There's not a lot of difference other than it's specific to trade school readiness or college readiness or social innovation, and for food security, it's specific to food security. And so, and we kind of sort of ask you the same information. However, you can't just copy and paste a college readiness application into food security. It's not going to work. So you want to be able to read these as independent applications and submit them. And now, if you're able to copy and paste universal information that both applications are asking of you, then go ahead and do that. That makes a lot of sense. What we're asking of you in the funding category is that any line item, and I'm going to just do social innovation and special project. Any line item that you're charging the grant, you must provide a 20% cash or in-kind match for that line item. That's it, right? Our funding is not infinite. Our funding is finite. Our funding cannot be the sole funder for your project. Our funding for social innovation, college readiness, trade school, special projects, food security, for those two. Our funding cannot be the only funding source for your project. And you need to be able to indicate that you have existing funding opportunities in place so that our funding can be used to leverage that funding, okay? Now, funding opportunities in place can mean a particular house of worship is saying, hey, if you get a grant for 20, we'll give you 15. If you get a bank to say, hey, if you get the grant for 20, we'll give you 10. Those are existing funding opportunities that run in alignment with our grant. All right, let me go to food security, because this is a big one. Everybody and their everybody is going to apply for this. So in the food security, indicate that OFBI grant will be used to support an existing project, and that the existing project is funded by whom, and at what amount, and will the funding be in place throughout the contract year 7/1/26, 6/30/27, upload award letter and or continuation of funding letter in the appendices. So for food security, we're asking you, listen, we know it's expensive to run a food security program. And we know that our funding cannot be $20,000, whatever. What is it? It's $40,000. $40,000 grant isn't going to last beyond like 7 months. And so we need to have our funding be part of a larger pool. So I'll answer whatever questions you have about that. And the same categories kind of sort of are the same here. And if you have any questions, you can call me or you can text me or you can email me. Again, must provide a 20% in cash or in-kind match for every line item the OPI grant is being charged. For both social innovation and food security, the budget is the same. Complete all budget forms in Sage. You can use up to $2,000 of the grant to purchase whatever technology you think you need for your program. You can use up to $1,500 of the grant, both social innovation and food security, for administrative costs, up to, right? And then administrative costs you need to justify. So your justification for administrative costs would be for funds not yet realized. Real simple, right? Because a lot of organizations have been brainwashed into not asking a funder, can they use admin costs? We're giving you up to $1,500 to give you the the flexible capital that you might need if you need to purchase something. You don't have to come to us and say, hey, do we have to do a budget modification? We could look at your budget and say, oh, you have $1,500 in admin costs. You did out of that. You can use up to $1,000 in grant funds for staff development, and up to 85% of the grant funds can be used for personnel. All right. You'll have to, for food security, you have to upload a board resolution. Same thing with social innovation, board resolution. Previous years executed 990 EZ. For food security, you could forget that. You don't have to worry about that because I should have taken that out. 3 letters of support, logic model, social innovation, which is college readiness and trade school, board resolution, three letters of support, and the logic model. Now let me run over here to Project Atlas. So Project Atlas, again, it's a capacity building grant. You have to have a leadership team, read the application. I'm going to answer all questions at the end. You have to have a leadership team, read the application. The application tells you exactly what you need to do to be awarded a Project Atlas grant, right? And so you have 2 logic models, Project Atlas. You have the logic model for your pilot project that you're going to use for the $10,000, and then you have a capacity building logic model. And that capacity building logic model it will tell the peer reviewers how you see your capacity building needs implemented within your organization for the contract period, right? So you guys have 2 logic models you have to upload, and these questions here are specifically focusing on capacity building, right? So you got to read all this. I'm not going to go through all this because the assumption is you've read this before you came here, and so they're not going to answer your questions moving forward. The budget is relatively the same for Project Atlas. But Project Atlas, for required dependencies, you have a board resolution, you have a readiness assessment, which I talked about under resources. You have to submit your previous year executed 990 EZ, 3 letters of support, a logic model, a capacity building logic model, and you can forget about that pilot project logic model because that is actually the logic model. All right, and for Freedom Schools, let's go to Freedom Schools. Kind of talked about Freedom Schools already. Anybody who applying for Freedom School understands or should have good understanding that they read this. You have to indicate that your organization has secured or plans to secure outside additional funding to support its Freedom School program for the summer of 2028. Not 2026, that should be 2027, 2028. How much do they plan to secure? So these questions are really focusing on the Freedom School as a planning grant. Not that you're implementing anything, but how are you thinking through how your Freedom School is going to operate? What age group do you want to deal with or provide services to? Do you have a location? Where is that location at? Does the organization have technology, whiteboards? Is it ADA compliant? All that information is in here. So I'm hoping that somebody read it and then asked me some really good provocative questions. Again, you must provide a 20% cash or in-kind match for every line item. And then there is a board resolution, upload 3 letters of support, logic model. You have the SLI recruitment plan and the fund development plan that is on our resources page. It will be on our resources page. It's not here that you need to upload. Okay, that was a lot. So let me stop sharing and let me see if there's any questions. I see faces of mass confusion and like information overload, but I get it because I just went through a lot. But you know, the hope is that you read this and you have some questions. So let's go to Nabil Khan. Let's go to Nabil Khan.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. So I was looking through the Project Atlas and I was thinking if we were to focus on board development, what is a realistic time commitment? I see that there's a time commitment, but of course, board members have far less time than regular leadership. So I'm just curious, like, what would be a realistic number in terms of involvement in coaching and technical assistance?
That's a good question. Is it Nabil or Nabel?
Nabil.
That's a good question, Nabil. So the commitment to the board and to the leadership team is so when you are assigned a Project Atlas Navigator, or your communications are virtual and after work hours. And so it's usually like every other month you'll meet with the navigator and he'll meet with the team, and then collectively you'll decide, hey, what works for the leadership team for board development, and then you would come under to a consensus with the navigator, say, hey, we think we can be here at this day at from this time to this time for introductions to board development, whatever that is. But it's really fluid and it's really flexible to the needs of the leadership team and also to the needs of the navigator. So it's not super strict where it has to be this day at this time. It's really based on how flexible can the leadership team be, what times do they want to meet virtually with the navigator, and when would you like to meet in person?
Sorry, just a follow-up question. In terms of like whole timeline, let's say what's the timeline? It's a full year? Like how do
Yeah.
we
So the
essentially span
contract,
through?
yeah, that's a good question. The contract year is 7/1/26 to 6/30/27. All right.
Thank you.
For
Yeah, I
freedom
get it.
schools, for freedom schools. Yeah, your freedom school, your everybody's timeline is 7/1/26 to 6/30/20 7/1/26 to 6/30/27. Freedom schools will be implementing their freedom school the summer of 2027, not 2028, summer of 2027. All right, let's go to Albert Thompson.
Thank you for taking my question, Mr. Laporte. My name is Albert Thompson. I'm from Bible Way Apostolic Missions. We have a food pantry that's been in operation now for about 8 years or more. We're an agency of the South Jersey Food Bank. Currently, what we do, we set up tables along the curb in front of our church, and we distribute food to several families, about 200 people per month or so.
Listen, Albert, I get it. I believe you, but we
My,
have a
que-
lot of hands here. What's your question?
my question is, can this grant be applied to building out our internal food pantry? We have this space. We just want to know if this grant can be used to be applied to the building out of that food pantry in our church.
No, it can't be. No state grants can be used for any type of capital campaigns to a building to build out a food pantry. Now, if you're saying, hey, can we use some of this money to buy a refrigerator? Yeah, you can. But if it means to knocking down walls, putting this up, putting that up, you can't use our money for that. You're going to have a capital campaign program. This funding is specifically for the advancement of food security, not to build up a pantry. So if you can fall along those lines, then you should apply.
Thank you very much.
All right. Reverend Dr. Nikki D. Jean Simmons, what's up?
Hi. My question was, we don't get a lot. Also a pastor of a church with a food pantry, and we don't have a lot of capital. I mean, most of the money that we use for like a holiday giveaway come from our members, but we do have nonprofit organizations that give us food every month. So is that considered like, can that be considered in kind when applying for this particular grant, or do we need to have like actual money?
Well, it could be cash or in kind. Oh, let me also say this before we go any further. So we're the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, and that's a bit of a misnomer because we don't fund religious institutions. So if there's a religious institution on the line, what we will fund is your separately incorporated secular 501c3 organization. If you don't have a separately incorporated 501c3 secular organization, you can't apply as the lead agency. That doesn't mean that you can't participate. You can be part of a, you can identify another nonprofit that has that paperwork in place and have them be your lead agency, and then you would become a partner agency to them. Okay, Terry Davis, and then I think Dan, you're next.
Yes, good afternoon. I have a question. If an organization has been in existence prior to receiving their 501c3, under the criteria for eligibility, do you have to be in existence for a year with your 501c3?
Yes, you have to be you have to formally be a nonprofit organization.
For 1 year before applying for the Atlas?
Well, no. That should have been taken out. If you want to apply for it, because we have organizations that just received their 501c3 on the day that they submitted. Project Atlas is for organizations just like yours, right? They're young, they're emerging, they just got their paperwork and they don't know where to go. And so we will support you with that.
Okay, so we can apply today.
Yeah, you can apply, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Dan.
All right, two quick questions for you, sir. The first being, can a current grantee awardee apply once again in 27 for food security? We
Yeah.
currently have an OFBI grant in 26.
Yeah, but you can, but it doesn't guarantee that
Oh, no,
you
I
get
know.
funded because our peer reviewers get rotated. So
Sure.
the crew that loved you last year, you might get a crew that be like, who in the heck? Right? So
Well, you know what? You know what, Eddie? I didn't write the last one,
oh,
so
that's
I'm
good. That's
new.
good.
They've never heard from me before, so we'll see how it goes.
Good. Yeah, but our peer reviews are rotated just to
Mhm.
give them just to give everybody a fresh perspective.
Sure.
So if you receive they don't ask us.
Who got it last year?
Everybody's application is read, rated on the basis of the merit of the current application, not what you did last year. So
Got
yeah,
in the
you can
past or
apply.
what have
No
you.
doubt about that. No doubt
Got
about
it.
it. You have another
And
question?
the other question, you mentioned that the grant was for 40,000. Will that be awarded always at 40,000, or will it be I apply for 40 and I might get 20? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So our grants are read and rated by peer reviewers and they're placed in chronological order, right?
Okay.
So from the highest to lowest.
Mhm.
And so if we're able to reach folks at 80, they scored at 80, we're not going to give an organization who scored an 80 40 and an organization who scored 140. So
Got it.
there's a sliding scale. So
Sure.
it's like I do it at Rutgers, right? 99, 100 to 95 is A plus,
Mhm.
94 to 90 is A,
Mhm.
89 to 80. So think about it as
Got it.
40, 35, 30, 25, 20. It won't go
Yeah.
any lower than 20 though. That's a good question.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Katie.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Katie.
Gonna follow up with that one about the food security grant opportunity. It looks different this year than it has been in the past.
Right.
I noticed specifically that you're looking for grassroots, faith, and community-based organizations.
Right.
I have a feeling I know what we're about, but I just want to clarify, like, what does grassroots mean to you in this context?
Well, I said grassroots so that I can get the smaller pantries more involved and not only get the larger, multifaceted, multiple diverse organizations involved, right? So it's really, hey, if you're grassroots, I don't want you to be intimidated to not apply. And the larger organizations, I know you're going to apply. So I just needed to say that so that that little Eddie pantry in the corner of such and such and such and such who doesn't think he can apply or they can apply. No, you can apply.
Okay.
So it won't limit, large organizations won't be deterred.
Okay.
However,
yeah.
right. However, food banks that deliver food to organizations, they are ineligible to apply. Right. I really want to support food pantries that actually give food to local residents, not the
Yeah.
large food distribution organizations that bring food to the Joanne Quattro CDC of the world, right?
Yeah,
So if you don't fall under that, you should be good.
got
Okay.
it. Cool. Thanks, Eddie.
All right, Keely. I hope I said that name right.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Following up on that, I wanted to just confirm. So we don't specifically have to be a food pantry to apply for special projects, correct?
Well, it's a food security grant, so I mean,
hmm
what do
Well,
you?
we're a community-based organization and we support the youth in our community in a variety of different ways.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So if you can, so that's a good question, Keely. So
Mhm.
I know food security is not very creative and innovative. You know, you go in, act like it's a supermarket with a little cart, or you do food at a parking lot. And I know that your level of impact is really based on the number of people that come in. However, the peer reviewers will also be looking at what other creative ways are the food security folks going to operate. Let me give you an example. So there's an organization, he's probably here, that provides foods that last the weekend from Friday to Monday to grammar school kids, so that they're guaranteed to have some type of food over the weekend. Now, I don't know how long that's going to last, because if it's me, I'm eating it all Friday, and then I'm going to be figuring out Saturday and Sunday. However, right, that program has already funding in place. So if you're thinking about doing something like that, you've got to prove that you have funding in place to support that project. But if you've coming up with something creative for your targeted population and securing and making sure that they are food secure, then yeah, you should apply. Because we're looking for creative ways of reducing food insecurity. It's not only come to the pantry on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or hit this parking lot on Thursday. It's not only that. All right?
Okay.
Did I answer
Awesome.
your question?
Yes.
All right. Didier Jean Baptiste. I hope I said that in order. I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I think we lost him.
He's there, but you know what, Diddy? I'm gonna go to the next one, and then when you get it together, I'll just raise your hand. Terry, I already asked one of your questions, so I'm gonna let Melissa go next, so that everybody has at least one round in. Go ahead, Melissa.
Hi, Eddie. Thank you. So I am with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lower Bergen County. We have applied for funding and received it once, but we are looking at potentially applying for the food insecurity, if that's possible for us.
Yeah.
So my question is, we provide free meals and snacks daily to the kids at our club. We get the food donated from the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, but we have kitchen staff who cook and prepare and all of that. Does it sound like we meet the criteria? Like, would that be something we could apply for to cover the costs of our kitchen staff and stuff like that?
So let me ask you, so the idea here for food security is that you're preparing snacks for these children, or you're providing a meal that
Meals.
carries them to the next day?
Meals. But they eat it at our club. So if our club is open till 7 p.m., they'll have a snack after school, but we provide meals for anybody who's there. I don't quote me, it might be 6 o'clock where they start serving dinner. So we have staff who actually cook and prepare the actual meals and, pasta dishes, things like that. So the kids that are at our club members will get a free dinner every night if in fact they're here at the time dinner is served.
Well, let me just say, let me preface this so that everybody understands. I don't make the final decision, right? You have to convince the peer reviewers. So if your argument on paper, in the application makes sense to them, then they will fund you. If it doesn't make sense to them, and if they have questions about why does Melissa think that they're a food security program, then you won't get funded. But I can't say to you, don't apply. I'll say, try your hand at it. You understand what we're trying to do. We're reducing food security. It sounds like that's what that is because program participants receive a meal every evening. But it's not for me to say nay or yay or nay for you to apply.
Right. Okay. No, I understand. I wanted to make sure if it even sounded like, something that had potential.
No, you're good. You're good.
Our kids,
Okay, I'm sorry.
they qualify for free and reduced price lunch, they're low income and all that. So,
Okay. All right, that's cool. And then here's another creative idea for food security. There's one organization that's thinking through and workshopping this idea of providing access to local ethnic supermarkets to provide Eddie with cultural foods at least twice a week for the year. So that's an interesting way of doing food security too, right? So it's going to be a pilot project, but I mean, I would love it, but I can't say that the peer reviewers are going to love it, but I like that it's unique and different. All right, we have Didier and Terry, but I'm going to give Judith the floor because she hasn't asked the question yet. Go ahead, Judith.
Hi, Eddie. Judy Bro from UCMP, United Children's Music Project. You've spoken with our Executive Director Melina. I'm not familiar with what a board resolution is. What is that document?
So a board resolution is a set document signed by the secretary or an executive member of the board saying, "Hey, yes, we want to apply for this grant, and we know that it's for whatever the amount is, and we support it moving forward." It's already set and it's on our website.
Oh, there is a copy of something similar to it on your website?
Oh, yeah. That's the only copy you need to use is that one. So when you go to our website and you click grant opportunities and you scroll down to resources, then you'll see a link for board resolution. That's the one you need to use. All right.
Great. Also, the 3 letters of support, who should they be from?
You have to decide. Read the application. It'll say, hey, these organizations, they can be any stakeholders that believe in the vision of your organization, and how will they help you move your vision for this project forward.
Okay. And one other question. If we know that what we're applying for is only going to cost us maybe $5,000, why would we request 40?
I don't know. Everybody does.
It just seems kind of odd.
Yeah, but you create the budget for what you need and then submit it.
Okay. All right. So if it doesn't total to $40,000,
no, you won't be penalized if it's under 40, and you won't be awarded if it's at 40. It doesn't matter. It's really what the peer reviewers, if your peer reviewers considered the application to be worth funding.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you for answering.
No problem. All right, Terry, you're back up for round 2. What's up?
Thank you. I have another question. Yes. Once an organization has received the award letter and we met all of the application process, what happens with all that training and all the work that we've done? Oh, do we receive a pool of foundation members who see that we've committed everything? What happens after that?
You mean what happens after the Project Atlas training?
With Atlas, yes.
Then hopefully you're in a position to gain access to funding from other sources.
Okay, does at the end, will Atlas or the people we're working with, will they present that to us, or do we do that on our own?
You will do that on your own, or the navigator can help you find out what funding opportunities are out there. But seeking for funding is the role of the organization, not necessarily the navigator. And so part of the training and leadership development is, hey, okay, Terry, if you're the ED and you have a board of directors, you need to use your board to help you figure out where the funding is at. And by the way, if you have a board, there's a fiduciary responsibility that each board members have to either give money to the organization or find funding for the organization. And you're going to be trained on that.
Thank you.
All right. Didier.
Eddie, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So someone was asking before about whether or not food donated by another organization to us can be used as the match, for funding.
Right. So that was that. Yeah. So it can be added as a match, but if you're going to charge the grant, if you're going to charge a grant on a particular line item, we want to see a cash or in-kind match for that line item. Right? You can say, you can have a line item saying food donation from the Dan Hodges CDC or the Dan Hodges group of concerned citizens. And then you're going to have to figure out what that donation equates to in terms of dollars, and then you can put that as an in-kind match.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Janae, I hope that I said that name right.
Hi, my name is Janai.
Janai, okay.
But I had two questions. The first, for Project Atlas, is there a revenue cap?
No.
No, okay.
In terms of the revenue cap of the organization?
Yeah, for eligibility.
Yeah, no. Now there used to be, but I'm opening it up to more mature organizations as well, because everybody needs capacity building.
Right. I noticed it last year there was one, so I was wondering if I missed it.
Yeah.
And then for special projects, we're a recipient of that for this current fiscal year.
Uh-huh.
And it was for senior services.
Right.
And I saw that it wasn't on there. I was just
Right.
curious to if there was any specific reason why the funding priority changed.
Yeah, well, I needed to move money around so that I can fund food security at a higher dollar amount. Honestly, I mean, I'm going to be fully transparent on that. And food security seems to be a major need in the local communities. And so since our funding has been flat for so many years, the only way for me to increase a particular category is by reduce or eliminate another category. Okay? And Nabil.
So I just have one question, which is more an understanding. Have you ever seen any example of food security being done with a medical organization?
No.
Like any sort of consortium being done in that regard?
No. But if you think that's a good idea, go for it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Seems like we're good. Oh, Davis. Go ahead, Davis. Was that a false alarm, Davis?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just have one quick question in regards to the peer review. If they reject your project, do they provide any additional assistance or suggestions on how to resubmit?
No, you can't. So if you submitted an application on February 26th and your application is denied, you can't resubmit that application again. You'll have to wait until our next funding cycle. And if you get a denial letter, you can email us and we'll give you feedback from the peer reviews. We'll give you all the weaknesses that they saw in your application. And then you'll take that and strengthen it and strengthen your application for the following year.
Thank you.
All right. So can you please clarify how many grants and how much funding is available for food security? It's 40,000. I think it's $200,000 for food security, I think. So that's Joe Casey. And okay, so that's it. Any other questions? So listen, before we go, let me say that it is December 11th and the application is due February 26th. You have more than enough time, However, you can't take my time hostage 2 weeks prior to the due date. You can take my time hostage between today and 2 weeks prior to the due date. I will sit with you. I will sit with your organization. I will meet with your leadership team. I will schedule it after work hours. I'll schedule it on a Saturday. I'll do all of that up until 2 weeks prior. After that, you're going to get like 5 or 10 minutes because I got to put out a lot of fires leading up to the due date. All right. So if you want to use me and you want to pick my brain, do it now. And we'll schedule time and I'll make myself available. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Good luck. If you have any questions, you got my cell phone number, you have my email address, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.